Hello and welcome to another Weekend Watch, kindly sponsored by Betano. I'm Dave Young, and once again I'm joined by Matty Sutcliffe and Andrew Mound. Now, we've got 7 races to be covering for this ITV Action Saturday. There's 7 handicaps from Musselburgh and Haydock. Some good racing. There's some good racing across the whole weekend, to be fair. All-weather championship finals. We've got Fairyhouse with the Irish Grand National on Monday. That's Easter Monday. Betano are doing a lucky dip for that as well. So it'll be the same principle as all the other lucky dips, where there will be a fixed odds price for any horse in the race. That horse will be randomly selected when you put the bet on. The final confirmation and details for those ones will be confirmed once they get final declarations, but it'd be worth checking out the Betano website to see if you can get a juicy value price about one of the shorter price runners in the race. We're going to have boosted naps in again this week. So while it'll be Matty and Andrew tipping this week, I'm going to find us a shorty that we can get boosted to at least get a bit of value, hopefully. And it was a pretty good result last week for the two boys as well. I genuinely feel sorry for Matty because it's a question of how many crossbars can you hit in 1 week. But he has been completing the crossbar challenge even since Saturday, Matt. You probably won't mind me saying, but it's a good sign of good form. There were some big price selections put up and some good each way returns back from that. And then, of course, Andrew was just throwing in stupid price winners left, right, and centre. It was a phenomenal show from him. So in the 125 at Newbury, Davina Grace, she really rallied gamely in the end. She won an SP of 14 to 1. She was only a short head winner that race, but that's like the narrow margins that are this time of year. And they've been the theme of the show for the last few weeks. Then in the 143 in air, Masaccio for Andrew. I think it was about 3 to 1 when Andrew was breathing it on the pod. Went off as a 10 to 1 SP. Drifters do win. And obviously, while we do quote the prices at the time of recording, when we do the results after, we do tell you SP. So it's nice that one's gone off at a bigger price. 2 o'clock, there was no joy for the selections in there, but Matty did give a good selection to Haybu, which I believe went up in Matty's column. That picked up second place at 40 to 1. So while it's obviously good to watch this, make sure you're checking out what everyone's putting in their columns for final selections too. Then the 215 at air, it was a bit more crossbar-y, but it was for Andrew. Cabral de Mathan went 1 to 2 in running. I think it was beating a neck, was it? Ubeti was third, only a short head behind that as well. So that was so close for Andrew getting some sort of return in there, but still second and third, good shouts. We all agreed on Rashabari, bumped into one in the Greenham. Matty's Fox's Fancy in the 255 at air was another place horse for him at 6 to 1. In the 312 at Newbury, both lads napped 2 tempting, didn't they, at the end of the show, but I made Andrew pick something else. But the horse did finish 4th. There was 4 places paid by Betano, as we talked about in there. So some good each way returns there. Matty even suggested Classic, who came 3rd. So in another place for Matty. And then literally to sum up Matty's weekend, Clark Kent went 1 to 6 in running to go and win the Scottish Grand National, and then was nabbed by Captain Cody in the end. 14 to 1 shot, still placed money. And like I say, it's good form going into this weekend. So let's crack on with the action. First race we'll be covering is the 150 at Musselburgh. Handicap over a mile. 3 places up for grabs. 5th of the odds. Favourite at this time of recording is Invited for George Bowie. 3 to 1. Wiltshire Lad's in here at 4 to 1. Castle Stewart's in at 9 to 2. Hot Dancer is 5 to 1. Zawal is 11 to 2, and it's 10 to 1 bar these. So, Andrew, seeing as you found all the winners, who wins the 150 at Musselburgh, please?
Hopefully the one I've backed, Wiltshire Lad, for Andrew Balding. First run after the retirement of Sir Michael Stout. He was a winner on his handicap debut at Sutherland, a first-time visor when we last saw him. The headgear's retained. Ocean Murphy's on board. Not particularly well drawn, stall 8 of 8. But he's already been nibbled out in the betting, 4 to 1 with our sponsors, Betano. And I think he could go off favourite here. We've seen this week already, we've had 2 ex-Stout horses winning. We had Jonquil winning for Andrew Balding, because at Newbury last Saturday. And at Newmarket this week, Thunder Wonder, 14 to 1 into 10 to 1, winning in these colours for William Haggis after the retirement of Sir Michael Stout. So I feel there's going to be improvement to come for this one. Not that he necessarily needs to improve a great deal anyway to take a hand here. The other one I'm going to bet at a very big price is Thunder Wonder for Charlie Johnson. Now, he was a bit of an eye-catcher last time out at Southall. Raced on the pace that day when you needed to be ridden patiently. The winner, the runner-up, the 4th and 5th have all come from midfield or further back. He's done too much too soon, leading 2 furlongs out, weakening inside the final furlong to finish just over 3 lengths back in the 14 to 1 third. That was his first run at a mile, so you could doubt his stamina for the trip. But I think it's worth another go. And his only other run on a turning track saw him win at Thirsk. So Thunder Wonder, I think he's a big price. Let me just check what he is with Bertano. He is 16-1, but yeah, Wiltshire Lad would be the main play in the race.
Like it. So Wiltshire Lads 4-1 with Bertano. You've just touched on there. Thunder Wonders 16-1. It is a dead 8 at the time of recording, so keep an eye on non-runners, etc., because it is 3 places of 5th at the odds at the moment. Matty, were you on a similar train of thought? There's quite a few that are relatively short at the front of the market. It looks a competitive enough opener.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Andrew here with Wiltshire Lad. For everything that he said, essentially, I did want to take on Invited. I know that he's fit from spins on the all weather. But he's got a very US-based pedigree. I just wonder whether the dirt will be, the likes of Sutherland Kempton will be his bag over a mile. It was 0 from 5 on turf as a 2-year-old, beaten favourite twice. I know he bumped into some nice types in Anna Domino and Ancient Truth. But I just wonder whether this mile on grass won't quite be his bag. Castle Stewart was interesting. He's in the dams from the family Forest of Dean, English Oak, State Occasion. So he's definitely likely to improve from 2 till 3. Zoal as well for John and Sean Quinn. Sent off favourite 3 times in France for Jean-Claude Rouget, and they made a winning debut over course and distance last time out. So he's got to be respected too. But yeah, Wiltshire Lad for me. His debut form's worked out really well. Field of Gold was in third that day. He's obviously come out and won the Craven. New Century was the winner. The second's now rated 91. So the forms worked out really well. He bumped into Seagull Lasso next time out. That one's now rated 96 after a length for 4th in that 300 grand race at Doncaster. Shapes in need of the trip at Yarmouth. Shapes in need of a mile at Yarmouth. Once he got it, I thought he won really cosily. So I know that he's not from 3 on turf as well. But as Andrew mentions, those horses that come from stout shires seem to be really improving, don't they? What's the
I was going to say that's been a profitable angle for several years. Switches from the stout yard, not just this season, but I think we're going to see a whole glut of them in the next month or 2.
Yeah, and the owner side, Sahel, he's had 3 of his last 5 runners have all won. 2 of those come from Michael Stoutyard. I forgot which one it was yesterday for Andrew Bolden. Spanish voice for Andrew Bolden as well. So in agreement with Andrew with Wiltshire Lad.
I like it. The form pick, there's loads of substance behind it from both you lads in there. It looks like it could be a race that might be some clues for the rest of the season, but 4-1 Wiltshire Lad at the time of recording with sponsors Bertano. He might end up going off favourite by the time this goes out. Now, 2:05 is our second race at Haydock. There's a series final meeting there. So this is the 2-mile handicap hurdle series final. Harry Derham won this race last year. He's got the favourite currently with Bertano. Gimme 5, who's 15-8 in here. Luttrell Lad for another big weekend winner for Tom Lacey, hopefully. 7-2, he's priced in here. Bluegrass for Stuart Edmonds, who's in fine form again this sort of time of year. 5-1 poke. Oslo for Fergal O'Brien's 8-1. Well Educated 8-1. Schmillison is 9-1. Got Gray is 10-1. I've named all of the 7 runners, which means there is only 2 places up for grabs, a quarter of the odds. But Matty, jumps action at Haydock. Good ground, strangely enough, at the track. Does that change who you fancy in here?
Yeah, well, is it good ground or is it going to be bottomless? As you can never trust the Golden Stick readings anymore, can you? I wanted to take on Give Me 5. He's not the biggest of horses, and I'm just not sure having a shoulder top weight, giving £10 a field will seem in a better light. So I'd like to take on the one toward the 4 of the market. The one I give a chance to is Well Educated for the Bewleys. He's got 4 wins from 6 in fields of 7 or under, and generally only kinds to win at either the start of the season or the end of the season. All of his wins have come in like the months of May, October, September, April, and June. So I just wonder whether you can discount anything toward the back end of the season. Apart from his 3rd to Florida Dreams at Hexham, that's worked out really well. The second's now £12 higher. In 4th that day was Cracking Rhapsody, who's obviously won the Moore Battle and the Scottish Champion Hurdle. So I just think coming back here off a break on this good ground, he's won Class 2 company before, for the bottom of the weights. It'll be Well Educated for me.
Yep, like that. So Well Educated is 8-1 with sponsors Bertano at the time of recording. Like you say, carrying a lower weight. He's only carrying 10 stone, 10 in air. Andrew touched on the fact that Harry Derham won this race last year with Brentford Hope. Does Gimme 5 have a favourites chance?
I'm not massively keen. A bit like Matty, there were more interesting runners at bigger prices. I didn't particularly like Bluegrass either. I thought he was flattered by that Fakenham win last time out. The front runners went off too fast towards the inside, and all the hold-up horses out wide fought out the finish there. So I thought he might have been flattered by his track position. I've got 2 on my list. The main play is Oslo, whose hurdles record from April to June is 3 wins, a second, and a brought down from 5 starts. And the other one is Matty's Well Educated. He's 7 from 30 over hurdles between March and October. He comes best in the warmer months. The only downside is he's been off the track for 151 days, and if you look at his wins, most of them have come within when returned to the track within 3 weeks of his latest start. So last year he finished 5th at Hexham, weakened close home on his return, and then won 2nd and 3rd time out after his winter break. So I'll probably just save on Well Educated, but I'll be particularly interested in him next time and going forward for the rest of the spring and summer. But yeah, Oslo the main play. 8-1 with Battano. Disappointing that we haven't got 3 places in.
Yeah, but in other ways, you could look at it as a positive. If you get through this place pot leg, considering Matty seems to find the place horse in every single race, 2 8-1 shots you guys have put up there, that would be a good leg to get through, especially if the short price favourite Give Me 5 goes out. So 8-1 Oslo for Andrew, 8-1 Well Educated, also given a good mention by Andrew, but Matty selection in the race. Right, back to Musselburgh, the 225. We've got a 7 furlong handicap. 3 places, 5th of the odds that are up for grabs. With Walifi is heading the market at 7-2. Alzahir is 9-2. Gweedore is 11-2. Rock Mountain Way is 13-2. Ben Acres 15-2. Diligent Resdev is 9-1. It's 10-1 bar these. So it's another one of those, I feel like, fiddly number handicaps, Andrew. We've got 10 runners going to post here, 3 places up for grabs. It looks pretty competitive on prices.
Yeah, and talking of seconditis, I put Ben Acre up as a bet the other day over course and distance when he finished 2nd by a neck. He was stuck out wide that day, but there was no pace on his inside. So I thought he managed to get across. He did, but it wasn't quite enough, unfortunately. He's wide again, and there's more pace in opposition this time, so I'm not going to back him. Gweedore will have his fans after finishing 2nd over course and distance last time. But he did have a good draw that day. The first 3 were drawn 3-2-1, so it's often an advantage in early season 7 furlong handicaps at Musselburgh to be drawn low. He gets cheek pieces on for the first time. I thought it was a bit late in the day to be experimenting with headgear. Never worn headgear before. He's an 8-year-old having his 58th career start, and they've slapped on cheek pieces. Lexington Bell, I thought he's one for later in the season, and he's only ever won in August and September. So he's in the tracker to back in those months. Rocky Mountain Way had a squeak. He's had 5 goes in handicaps, 2 wins, 2 seconds, and a 3rd. But the one I came down on was Alzahir, who's 2 from 2 since a wind-up. Now, I wasn't sure whether he'd be able to follow up that Doncaster win, his first run after a wind-up, because he came from off the pace. And we saw at that Doncaster 2-day meeting, or the Lincoln meeting Saturday, and even the Sunday, that because of the headwind, the hold-up horses were perhaps flattered. But he improved his RPR by £4 when following up at first, a couple of weeks later. So I think Alzahir is on the up, and 3rd quick run. But I think he could go well again here. You got the prices there, Dave, for that one?
Yes, yeah, so Alzahir's 9-2. Like I said, there is 3 places up for grabs, 5th of the odds.
Yeah, that seems fair enough, and he's drawn in stall 4 as well, so quite close to the inside.
Nice. So Jenny Candlish is going to train the winner of the 225 in Musselburgh. According to Andrew, Matty, are you of similar vein in the fact that you think that Walifi drawn out in 10 won't win?
Yeah, I'd like to take on Walifi. I think he's just because he's a half-brother to Baid. He's been overbetting every single one of his races. He's actually started favourite in all 8 of his races so far, only winning 2. Not sure how much wiggle room he's got off a mark of 88. So quite keen to take Walifi on. I was a little bit more optimistic than Andrew was in Gweedore. I think the 6-day turnaround was quite interesting. If you go all the way back to 2022, he finished 2nd at Musselburgh with course and distance on the 29th of June. A day later, he finished 2nd again by a length. And then 4 days later, he beat Orban at Ayr. So he has got proven form of kind of backing up short days. I know he's only got 3 races in a year and a half. Something perhaps going to miss, but he loves it here. It must be, doesn't he? 5 wins from 17 runs. Jason Hart generally gets on really well with him. 4 from 12. And I think in this race you kind of want to be on prominent race, drawn low. £7 lower than his last success, which came in Class 2 company at Newmarket. And I just think that Gweedore is, if he can back up that run, just quite a rock solid each way bet.
Nice. So yeah, like I say, 3 places up for grabs, 5th of the odds. While Andrew's not keen on Gweedore, Matty is, and it was Alzahir for Matty in the 225 at Musselburgh. Right, back in Haydock, we've got another series final. This is the Stayers Handicap Hurdle Final. Over 3 miles, we've got Burrows Hall, Sue Smith and Joel Parkinson. Sure, Matty will have something to say about this one. 11-4 favourite at the head of the market. Lamgini for Dan Skelton, trying to get as much money as he can before the end of the season. He's in at 3-1. Thank You Ma'am's 4-1. High Game Rules 11-2. And Tailliur, who I thought at the start of the season might be making a resurgence but hasn't been, is in at 11-2. Oh, sorry, 8-1 and Tailliur, and then it's 10-1 bar those. So Matty, back up in Haydock, another series final. Unfortunately, another field where we've only got a quarter of the odds, and it's 2 places. But who do you like in here?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not the Joel Parkinson and Sue Smith runner. It does pay me to go against them. Now, this is Tailliur is one of those ones where he's either going to just blow out or win by 10 lengths. This is I have similar to you, Dave. Flagged him up as a potential plot at the start of the season. He went chasing from 500 days off the track, and he was never a chaser. They had him on soft ground twice as well. He needs it kind of good, or at the very least good. Needs it rattling, if anything. And he's been kind of lobbed out at the back in three handicap hurdles since. Twice at Cheltenham, both on soft ground, and then last time out at Newbury. That Newbury effort was actually a bit more promising, only beating 17 lengths. This is a much weaker race than that was, and he did win this race in 2023. I think it was off a £4 higher mark. He was beaten 4 lengths in the per attempts the following season 2 years ago. I just think and that was off a £14 higher mark. You just think if he gets his ground, he's 1 from 1 over the course, came in this race. If he is off, it'll be today, surely, or on Saturday even. So, yeah, on Tailliur for me, 1 last chance.
I like it. It does feel like that type of horse, doesn't it? Especially when you're onto him at the start of the season. We're reaching the end of it now, and it's like, well, I might as well continue to follow him. But it's plausible, like you say, with the ground, etc., and a bit more of a promising run last time out. He has got a chance, hasn't he? Andrew, in this race, the detective agencies, Hobbs and White, got High Game Royal. Sam Twiston Davies is riding for them. I wouldn't imagine that happens very often. Was that one of the horses you liked in here?
I didn't really like any horses in here, if I'm being honest. I did have a look at Thank You Ma'am, who's was denied a hat-trick, went 3rd at Ascot when doing too much too soon. The winner, the runner-up, the 4th and 5th at a big field all came from off the pace. And I was against him at Donny next time, thinking he might not be so effective left-handed, but he's duly gone and made all, albeit in a fairly small field. But with Burrows Hall front runner, Thank You Ma'am front runner, they could play into the hands of something ridden a bit more patiently. Tiny Tetley is a horse I've been a fan of, another one from the detective agency, but that one's been doing his winning in sort of small field races in the West Country, right-handed at the likes of Taunton and Exeter. So yeah, I was just going to play the get out of jail free card here, but with another small field, like you say, 2 places up for grabs, it could be a real play spot buster. So yeah, the Bold Recruit wouldn't be out of it. 3rd to Burrows Hall last time, and as long as he can sit off the pace and not get too close to the early battle, what we assume is going to be an early battle for the lead, maybe he can run a good race. But yeah, just leave me out.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, when Matty's making a pretty strong case for Tailliur in a race, we know that it's probably one we should be steering clear of. But no selection manager in there. That's fine. You give us enough winners in the other races. Again, like we said, those 7 runners, only 2 places up for grabs, could be a cracking place pot leg, especially when Tailliur goes in for Matty. He's 8-1 at the time of recording with sponsors Bertano. Right, back in Musselburgh for the 3 o'clock Spring Cup Handicap over 5 furlongs. 3 places up for grabs this time, 5th of the odds. The head of the market is for American Affair for Jim Goldie, 3-1. Jer Batt is in at 9-2. Cover Up is 11-2 for the Crisfords. Monna Sleeve is 6-1. JM Jungle is 7-1, and it's 10-1 bar these. So Andrew, this looks like it's a race that's a bit more your cup of tea.
Yeah, this is good. It's 5 furlongs, Musselburgh. Generally, there's 2 things that help: a front-running ride, or certainly a prominent ride, and a high draw. This race used to be run in June, but since since it's been transferred to this meeting, so 3 winners were drawn 10 or higher. The other one came out of stall 1. Hold-up horses were just 1 from 29. There's loads of pace here, though, especially from the low numbers, stalls 1 and 2. There's also pace in stall 7. Monoslever is how we're pronouncing it, according to the commentator, having rewatched his last win this morning. I was against him that day because he went into that race having won just once from 13 starts. That was on his racecourse debut. I thought he's becoming unreliable, but he beat Curious Rover over course and distance, pressing the pace against the near side rail. Got a fair draw again in stall 6. Certainly wouldn't put you off that one. He doesn't have to lead; he can just sit behind the pace. Jer Batt was half interesting for the Barron Yard. Goes well fresh and having his first run of the season. JM Jungle is one to take watching this race with a view to backing him at York next month. All roads lead to York for this one. And he was 4th in the equivalent race last year and might need this, I thought. And he was also 3rd at this meeting a couple of years ago. So, again, he ran at York after both those runs. So I think this is just a prep. And so the one I came back to was American Affair, who had 0 chance from his low draw in the Air Gold Cup when we last saw him. He was, I think, 16th that day, but he actually did 3rd best of those drawn in single figures. And one of the low-drawn runners who finished ahead of him, Strike Red, won at York next time out. He's only £2 higher than when winning the Portland. He's got a lovely draw in stall 9. I think he'll be ready to go, so I'll go American Affair.
I like it. So American Affair is heading the market 3-1 with Bertano. Like you say, you like the high draws. He has the highest of them all with 9 runners in here. Matty, where was your eye drawn in this race?
I quite like Jer Batt in this race, actually. 1 from 1 over course and distance. And he's got a pound swing in the weights with American Affair, who would beat Haydock in a Class 2 last August. It is one of those races where you can run it 10 times over and you get 10 different results. You could probably make a case for most of them in here. But it will be Jer Batt for me. As Andrew said, he goes well fresh. Mark looks fine. He was only beat a half length off at Haydock in September, again with American Affair backing behind. And he's also got a £4 swing in the weights with Cover Up, who was beaten ahead by Doncaster on his last run. Would like to see a bit of form from the yard, but on decent ground. And the race, it should be run at suit as well. I think they'll go quick. They'll be covered up from stall 5. They'll come in between runners. It'll be Jer Batt for me.
So Jer Batt for Matty is 9-2 at the time of recording, with those positive weight swings on a couple of horses around him in the market. Right. Back to Haydock, another series final. It's the Veterans Handicap Chase final. Numitor took this race 12 months ago in a completely different vein of form this year, winning races left, right and centre. But it's Eldorado Allen for the Tizzards who's leading the market, 7-2 at the time of recording. The Flier Begley second in at 5-1. Dubai Days is 13-2 alongside the Widowmaker again for the Tizzards. Numitor 7-1, last year's winner. Glyn is in at 8-1. Flicker Voyous 10, Whistle in the Darks 11s, Milos is 12-1, Spyglass Hill is 12-1 too. So Matty, 2 miles and a half, or 2 miles 4 furlongs. I was about to say half a mile. I should have just said 4 furlongs. 3 places up for grabs, a fifth of the odds. I think these veteran series have got better and better year on year. This looks like quite a good renewal, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think you've got to. I agree. I think the other race I do kind of enjoy, and it's a good angle. I think when a horse comes. When a horse is running veterans company before, then steps out into open company again, and kind of doesn't quite have the legs to match up with the younger generation. So I think you've got to respect Eldorado Allen. Obviously, drops back to veteran company for the first time since being beaten 4 lengths by Numitor. But there's one horse in here that you just think, how is he such a big price? It's Milos. He's another who won last time in veterans company, 1 from 1, bolted away from a Whistle in the Dark at Warwick 3 starts back. And he wasn't disgraced in the Greatwood Gold Cup on a £7 claim and beating 18 lengths, but still finished 6th. And then if you watch back that run at Aintree in the freebooter, he just smacked of another day. Over on 3 mile 1 against a lot of younger legs, lobbed around his rear, and I mean he's only £2 above that last winning mark, and he absolutely dotted up. And I think with a £50 prize bonus on offer, it'd be a massive step in the trainer championship for Dan Harry Skelton should he win. He's got some amazing back class, obviously a Hennessy winner. If he's on song, I think Milos will win quite cosily.
Oh, very confident. 12 to 1 he is. And I was looking at this because when it comes to the veteran series, I know that Andrew likes the 10-year-olds. He's one of 3 10-year-olds in there. Andrew, it's early enough in the season for the veteran series. Is the 10-year-old angle still the way to play this race?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this is only the second running of the 2.5 mile final. Most veterans races before this, the last couple of seasons, have run over 3 miles or further. But last year, you look at the race, the winner, Numitor, runner-up, Dubai Days, were the only 2 10-year-olds in the race, I think, or 2 of several 10-year-olds. They finished 1-2 anyway. So I'm looking at the 10-year-old angle. Milos, I questioned whether the ground's going to be soft enough. But just having checked the weather, there's 9 mil of rain potentially between now and post time. So it's a case of weather watch, I think. But I'll do my usual thing, which is combine the 10-year-olds in a combination forecast and tricast. That's Milos, the Flier, Begley, who was third to Dubai Days here last time out, and Whistle in the Dark. Now, I do also respect Dubai Days, despite him being an 11-year-old. He chased home Numitor in this race last year, and he did me at Haydock last time. He's a horse I've got to back in March and April, but he's also a horse who goes well after a recent run, and he'd been off the track for about 11 months when he was 16 to 1 in the qualifier for this over course and distance in mid-February, and he's only gone and won. Why I didn't have some sort of interest on him, despite the fact he drifted from something like 13 to 2 when we first looked at the race a couple of days beforehand. He's since finished second at Carlisle. Now, he's got a really good record in March and April when he's had 2 or more runs within the past 2 months, 5 wins from 7 starts and second in the other 2. So if you just go on that, fitness and time of year angle, Dubai Days has got a great chance here. It's just the nagging thing about 10-year-old doing so well in veterans chases, and he's a year older than ideal. So yeah, I'll be looking at the 3 10-year-olds, looking at Dubai Days as well. If you want me to come down on one of them, I'll just go the Flier Begley for the Gary Hammer yard. Bolted up in the market race and qualified 2 runs ago, and was third in that Dubai Days race last time.
Love it. So this is the good thing about these veteran series. They are really good, exciting races. There's lots of competitive form in there, isn't there? And as much as they're not towards the latter stages of their career, but obviously they're not just starting out, are they? Seeing horses like Numitor just loving life again, even winning at 3 miles last time out, which was a prep run for this. It's just good to see so many good horses being mentioned and all here with a chance. But it's Milos for Matty at 12 to 1. Andrew will be Perm in the 10-year-old, which is the Flier Begley, Whistle in the Dark, and Milos. Good mention for Dubai Days. And if he was forced for a selection, which no one ever is, he was forced to pick the Flier Begley, one of the 10-year-olds. Right, we move back to Musselburgh. For the last race, we will be covering the Queen's Cup, a heritage handicap, over 1 mile, 6 furlongs. 4 places up for grabs this time, with Sponsor Pitano for 5th of the odds. Headed the market by Wild Waves at 11 to 4. Wise Eagles second in at 7 to 1. Although, scratch that, they haven't refreshed the website. Aimeric's second in at 13 to 2. There's been some support from that one from 8 to 1. So it's 7 to 1 Wise Eagle after that. Align the Stars is 15 to 2. Kiava is 15 to 2. It's been running at Haydock throughout the season as well, like the dual purpose type horse. 10 to 1 bar those. So, Andrew, this looks like a good competitive handicap to see things out. I'd say probably the trickiest race of the day to pick the winner in. So can you help me find it, please?
Yeah, I'm quite confident here. I've bet 2 Aimeric and Wild Waves. Aimeric, that's why he's gone from 8 to 1 into 13 to 2, possibly. But I've looked at the last 6 years of this race. I've gone 6 years because it got a massive cash injection, and the prize money almost doubled from 2016 to 2017. So we didn't have a race in 2020 because of COVID, all last year because the meeting was abandoned due to waterlogging. But in that time, those 6 renewals, horses who've returned to the track 84 days or sooner, 0 from 34, 7-year-olds or older, 0 from 28. And just simply backing any horse who finished in the top 6 last time out would have made money. Backing horses in the top 6 in the weights would have made money. There's a great angle here. 6-year-olds or younger, been off the track for more than 12 weeks, top 6 in the weights, top 6 last time out. I think it's 6 winners from 10 runners in the past 6 years. And huge profit. 2 runners, 2 qualifiers, Aimeric and Wild Waves. Now, Wild Waves, because we last saw him finishing 6th in the St. Ledger at 40 to 1. Never had a sort of serious chance in that. But the time before, he was an absolute eye-catcher in the Melrose, a race that traditionally works out well. Finishing 4th to Table Talk. We saw Table Talk just go down narrowly to Davina Grace in the John Porter at Newbury last week. Table Talk was rated 95 that day, is now on 108. The runner-up, the Equator, hasn't run since, but the third, Master Builder, won a 52 grand handicap at Haydock next time. The fifth, Sun God for Huey Morrison, won the Old Rolly Cup at Newbury last time, a 15-runner Heritage handicap, winning that by almost 4 lengths. So the form's rock solid. Of course, Wild Waves was poorly drawn in York in stall 13, and came from off the pace and was switched wide. And because the York Seaball meeting, it was a case of being drawn low, prominent around the inside of the rail. There's a massive track bias even in small fields. So he's been gelded since that run, Ledger run. That could bring about improvement. I just think he's got a huge chance here, and I think 11-4 is probably going to be generous because he's going to be more like 7-4 on Saturday. So the other one of interest is Aimeric. Won 5 times for Roger Varian, yet to win for Andrew Balding, but he only had 3 runs. 2 of those came on soft ground, and he used to be withdrawn if the ground came up soft when he was with Varian. And the other run went second in listed company at Kempton last time. All those 3 runs over a mile 3 to a mile 4 for his current yard. Every time he's been plugging on at the end, looking like he needs further, back up to a mile 6, back up on ground that most of his best forms come on. I thought he's going to run a big race here. Of those who don't fit the sort of stats, the other obvious one to mention is Wise Eagle, who's had 6 runs at Musselburgh across the flat and jumps, 5 wins and a short head second. And Chiava as well was nibbled at in some quarters for the Scottish Champion Hurdle last time out, but been off the track for 133 days. He's never gone well after a break. He's got a fine record when he's been returned to the track within 3 weeks. And he's 2 wins and 2 seconds from 4 starts when he's been returned to within a week of his last start as he is here. So I was Wild Waves, Aimeric, Chiava, and Wise Eagle. There's your first 4 home.
I love it. But I do sense in there's like a lot of confidence from you, especially for Wild Waves, considering he's towards the head of the market. I know you're not scared of a price of anything, but pretty convincing case made for Wild Waves. But it is a competitive.
Yeah, there's a few at Musselburgh, like American Affair, like the one I mentioned in the first race, whose name I've already forgotten, the ex-Stout runner. They're sort of like fairly prominent in the betting, but I think Wiltshire Lad, I should say. So yeah, it might be a short price Trixie on those 3.
Oh, I like. He's given us the first 4 home. He's given us Trixies as well. Matty, follow that. What can you add to the Queen's Cup Heritage Handicap?
Not a whole lot, as I'm in partial agreement with Andrew. In Wild Waves, certainly. I actually backed him on both occasions, both his last starts. It was a huge eye catcher behind Table Talk at York. As Andrew mentioned, I've never seen York. That Ebor meeting at York was incredible. Like, it was one of the worst prices I've seen in a long, long time. York's deemed as it's almost like Red Carresque, wasn't it? And as I say, he'd done so well to get to where he did from a wide draw. They changed tactics in the St. Ledger as well. I think they had him the sat third, I think, and he's the one that's dropped out near enough right at the back in a big field of handicaps. And they say he was only beaten 2 lengths in that race at York. He was rated £15 lower than the field in the St. Ledger, and he's only beaten 7 lengths. Well, I thought it was quite a credible effort. I actually do think it could be a graded stay in time. So off a mark of 100, I think dropping back into this company, Wild Waves will go quite well. The other is a line star to Charlie Johnston. I think I've probably gone skint back in Charlie Johnston horses in the last few years now, but he has won 2 of the last 4 renewals of this contest. He's got 3 or 4 in this race, but he's got form figures: 3 wins, 2 seconds, and a third in handicaps. He ran a career best in a listed company at Nottingham last time out, beaten 3/4 lengths by Al Kareem despite being £4 wrong. So I think it's the kind of race that Alina Sard could progress well in. Of the rest, I thought Fairlack might be interesting for a place. I know he's on a career high mark, but he's still relatively well in on some older form. I hope Tinzo goes well for Craig Lister, but I think he might need a little bit softer. Chillingham could go well, but again, he's one that needs it softer. Bumped into Not So Sleepy a few starts back, didn't it? So it's a really competitive race, probably the best race on the card. But yeah, I'll have 2 against field, Wild Waves and Align the Stars.
Oh, Dave, just another thing on this race. We should also mention Charlie Johnson's Struth. Just because I've got on my notes to make Kate say Struth in an Australian accent, as we used to do, but I forgot she wasn't presenting today. So you might have to have an attempt at that as well. No pressure.
Struth. You caught me
That's
off
it.
guard there. Terrible, isn't it? Never put me on the spot, Andrew. Thank you very much.
Good effort. Good effort.
I'll try better next week. So it's 11-4 Wild Waves. We talked about that horse. Andrew thinks he's going to go off potentially a lot shorter than that. And it was Align the Stars as the second selection for Matty, who is in at 15-2 with the sponsors Betano. That definitely does seem like the best race today, doesn't it? The way that you guys have talked about it too. Right, that is all the ITV action covered. There is some phenomenal racing across the weekend. So Matty, I'm going to throw it back to you. Did you get a chance to find anything from anywhere else?
No, I've got some up for Newcastle tomorrow for the column, so check that out. But yeah, play it nice and safe this weekend. Looks quite trappy.
Nice. And Andrew, did you have anything from anywhere else this week?
I had a quick glance at Huntingdon, but nothing stuck out.
Okay, fair enough. Only one I will mention. I did the Irish National Trends video on Sunday or Monday, I think it was, and there's a lot of love in the comments for Kinturk Kalanisi. So I think it would be remiss of me not to mention that horse having a potential good chance on Sunday, but that's come from the comment section, so I can't take any credit for it. Right, we've waffled enough. Actually, we've been quite good with the time-wise. Let's keep it like that. Naps for this week, boys. Betano are going to be boosting these naps this week. So, of course, you can pick the same one if you want, but if you want to spread it across, we can spread it across. I'll go last. I'm going to chuck one in that's going to get the viewers a bit of value, hopefully. Matty, I'm going to come to you first. You can have first dibs. Who's your nap for this week?
There's a couple here that I'm quite sold on. I don't want to get the same one as Andrew again. I'll go with Alzahir and at Haydock. I think it's either 10 lengths win or he pulls up. So Alzahir.
I like it. I love how you've safely gone for the one race that Andrew didn't pick a selection in, so you couldn't have the same. You are allowed it. It's fine. Right. Andrew, who would you like to nap this week?
I'm going for Wiltshire Lad in the 150 at Musselburgh.
Nice. I'm conflicted because I feel like the case that you guys have made for Wild Waves, I feel like getting a boost on that would be sensible to keep a price for the viewers. But I mean, if you can get 11-4 about him anyway, that's fine, isn't it? I'm going to go against you two in the fact that I think Harry Derham has seriously plotted Gimme 5 in the 205 at Haydock. 15-8 currently with Betano, but I'm sure we can get that boosted up to a bigger price if anyone is interested in that runner. So that wraps up all the action for this week, our selections, naps. You can check the lads' columns to find out what they fancy for this weekend. Hope you all have a lovely Easter, and we will see you again next week.